I would like to talk about eyeglasses with you, Dr. Planty. In fact, I would like to talk about sunglasses, eye sunglasses, and the importance of protecting your eyes from the sun and what can and should be done. Again, I grew up in the mountains, on glaciers, and my whole life I haven't worn a single pair of glasses when skiing. When I go up there and everybody looks at me and go, you mean, where are your glasses? I go, what glasses? And I've never yet worn glasses except when it snows. That's because I don't, remember I told you that I don't want any drops in my eyes, so that's not good. Mm-hmm. And but that's the only time I might be wearing ski goggles, with heavy snow. Rather than that, I never do. I have, in fact, a dentist friend. He's 80-something, and I went skiing with him a few years ago in Lake Tahoe, and he never in his life wore glasses for skiing. Anyway, tell us what we should do to protect our sun, and how dangerous, again, am I living? I mean, how on the edge am I going? And maybe just lucky because God preferred me or something like that. Shed some light on it.
Well, I mean, that certainly is a possibility that God shed some light upon you, and there are a number of different people who've not worn sunglasses to protect their eyes and have not had any complications as a result of that. But for the majority of the patients out there, some type of sunwear protection is advisable from protection of ultraviolet radiation. Known fact that ultraviolet radiation contributes to both macular degeneration, a subject that we talked about before, and cataracts. Ultraviolet radiation will speed up both of those processes, make the cataracts worse, make the macular degeneration worse, by not wearing sunglasses at that particular point. The sunglasses, and there's a number of different sunglasses that are out there, but the best sunglasses are the ones that offer you 100% ultraviolet radiation protection, which are Ploride lenses, number one, probably the number one selling sunglass lens at that point. And even if you do have the Ploride lenses, I usually recommend a sunglass lens that has an anti-reflective coating on it too, because in like skiing conditions where you get a lot of reflected light that comes from odd angles, to be able to reflect that off the lens instead of passing it through the lens is going to be healthier for the situation at that particular point. A lot of times the sunglasses protect the light that comes directly at you, but when you get light that comes from behind and hits off the sunglass lens and reflects back into your eye, you're going to get, even though you have sunglasses on, you're going to still end up with a little bit of damage at that particular point. So if you're going to spend a lot of time outdoors in the sun, obviously my recommendation is that you do wear some type of sunwear that will prevent the ultraviolet radiation from doing any kind of damage or harm to your eyes.
I see. And I know that some people, in fact, there's this one chap I meet once or twice a week or once or twice every 2 or 3 weeks at Starbucks, and he's an elder gentleman. Well, anyway, he's about 65, and he just got himself a gorgeous pair of glasses which change with the light. In fact, he was passing them all around to, just a typical Starbucks friend,
Exactly.
The guy once or twice a month, and you say hi and talk a little bit of whatever, and they look good on him. And but he was a little unhappy that they were a little too dark inside. So kind of like people said, "Hey, what's it up with you with the shades?" You know what I mean? And then I think he changed them to a little lighter. Are those helpful, protective? Are they having the 100% UV protection you talked about or not?
And they do, actually. The lenses that change color from clear to, or from lightly tinted to sunglass when they go outdoors, the reason that they change is they have to absorb ultraviolet light in order to change. So they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as protection goes, because they have to absorb that ultraviolet light to make that change from quasi-clear to a sunglass lens. Or a tinted lens, really. I don't think these lenses get dark enough for patients outdoors. to feel comfortable, but they do absorb 100% of the ultraviolet radiation. And then he's picked up on the other, as far as I'm concerned, drawback to the transition lenses is the fact that they don't get clear enough indoors. And if you're watching TV late at night in a dark room and you're looking through the lenses that don't get clear, and there's some sort of tint to them, it's a little hard to see when you're indoors at that particular point. So I don't particularly care for the transition lens for that reason, but they do serve the function of being 100% ultraviolet radiation absorbing.
I see. I'm not so sure he complained about not seeing indoor stuff. I think he just complained about, being conscious about him looking like a bum. Like a person who wears sunglasses inside. You only see it in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Absolutely.
The mafia guys coming in and.
Or he could tell people that he's a musician, and all musicians wear sunglasses indoors.
Oh, I see. They do. Okay, so good. So one should protect it with ultraviolet thing. Since we are on those glasses, any other protection, any other coating a person should get? Maybe not just on sunglasses, but on vision glasses. Period. Like night reflection for car driving and stuff like that. Give us some real useful ones, and give us some which maybe are out there, cost a fortune or cost some money, and are really for the birds. Does that exist also?
Exactly. Well, like I mentioned with the Polaroid lenses, one of the coatings that I like to put on my recommend for my sunshade patients is an anti-reflective coating that goes on the front surface and the back surface of the lens. And you can get the anti-reflective coating on clear lenses, and where that's going to help you, and you mentioned that earlier, is driving at night. It eliminates a lot of the streamers or the halos around headlights coming at you, and you're not really as wiped out by the glare from the oncoming traffic. You're able to see the road a little bit better. You're able to see the oncoming traffic a little bit better. So that, to me, that's a big advantage for people that do a lot of nighttime driving or watching ball games at night so that you can see the scoreboard clearly and that sort of stuff. The other big advantage is if you're on computers all day long, the anti-reflective coating will enhance the contrast of whatever print you're looking at to the background, because the computers are very glary, and the anti-reflective coating will go ahead and eliminate a lot of that glare so that you don't squint so much, you don't end up with eye fatigue at the end of the day, or even headaches at the end of the day from being on a computer too much. So the anti-reflective coating, I think, is well worth the expense to add to your glasses. And the coatings that they have nowadays are very, very good to where they don't smudge up, they don't cloud up, they're easy to clean, and they do what they're supposed to do as far as the anti-reflective part of the procedure.
Great. Are there any type of coating which sometimes an optometrist optician might want to push simply because it's extra revenue, which really, does do diddly shit?
Well, I think the process of finding out what the patient needs and making a recommendation. If the two recommendations I have, if they're outdoors, if they drive at night, or if they're on a computer, I'm almost always going to recommend an anti-reflective coating. If the patient gets it, the patient gets it. If they don't, they don't. But again, the recommendation has to be there to take care of whatever issue that they have as far as the quality of their vision. If they come to me and they complain that they can't see the traffic at night, and I make a recommendation and they don't do anything about it, then the problem's on them at that particular point. I've given them the answer to their problem. So we don't really, I would hope that there's opticians or eye doctors out there that don't push something just because for sales or for income or whatever. It just needs to be for the recommendation of what the patient actually needs to improve the quality of their life, the comfort of their work, so that they can do better, longer, faster, harder work. They can get the job done for what they need to get done. Right. I would hope that they're not pushing it.
Right. No, I was kind of more referring to, do their coatings exist, which are maybe fashionable with people and people ask for it, but frankly it doesn't do anything?
I'm not going to say particularly coatings, but there's some tints that you can get in lenses that don't really.
Same thing. To me, that's it's all the same thing. Okay.
Rose-colored glasses, orange-colored glasses. I mean, there's no really advantage to wearing those other than the fact that they may hide wrinkles or whatever at that particular point. So no particular reason for putting tint in a lens that's permanent, because if you're indoors, the tint's going to bother you. If you're outdoors, the tint's not going to be dark enough to get done at that point. But there's a lot of people that will put a fashion tint in the lenses just because they want that fashion tint in there for whatever reason. But there's no function to that other than cosmesis or making you look better for whatever reason.
Okay, I got it. All right. What about the cars with the tinted glasses? Is that a good thing?
Well, most manufacturers of cars today put some type of ultraviolet protection in the windshield itself to help with the eye fatigue part of that thing. So if we go back to wearing those transition lenses, and the only way that they're going to transition is with the absorption of ultraviolet radiation, the lenses will not transition to a dark lens inside the car because the windshield is going to prevent the ultraviolet radiation from getting to the lenses. But once you get out of the car, the lens should change at that particular point and give you the protection. So another reason that I don't like the transition lenses is because they don't get dark inside a car, and that's usually the complaint that the patient has is the sunlight bothers me, so I want these lenses to help with the sunlight, but they don't do any good inside a car.
Got it. But like cars, my question, like cars who have tinted windows on it, whether they're original or whether people put them on later, do they help? Because my wife, for instance, she put a more tinted on it, slightly more than the actual law allows, because she just doesn't. I mean, she's the umbrella girl. She will not cross the street in summer without an umbrella. Which on top of it is an umbrella which keeps away the UV apparently, and She just stays away from the sun like there's no tomorrow. While she likes it, she just doesn't want to be under it. Would that tinted thing help her, on her arms and wherever?
Well, certainly it will. I mean, tinted windows in a car, I think the biggest advantage to me at that particular point is it keeps the car cooler if you're going to park it in the sunlight, because it's going to kind of reflect everything back so that you don't have a lot of heat inside the car. You're going to have heat in there, but it's not going to be as hot as if you didn't have the tinted windows. And, of course, if you're driving and if you've got passengers in the back that don't want to wear sunglasses and stuff, it's obviously going to help them. You can't put the tint in the windshield of the front window because you really wouldn't be able to drive at night using that tinted window in the front. But it's certainly going to help you as far as daytime with any passengers or anything inside the car, or even reflected light coming from the sides to interfere with your driving at that particular point. So it's going to help, but it's not going to be as much of an advantage other than it's going to keep the car a little bit cooler in the summertime.
Got it. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Dr. Planty.
Very well.